The Lakers coaching staff is one of the best in the association, and their stifling defense is so good. And let's go into what they did to really, really just make it life difficult for the Timberwolves in the second half especially. So they ran this scheme a little bit into the playoffs too, if you're a Lakers fan, you remember this. But notice how in the other balls to score, especially Ant Edwards, they did this in the playoffs last year, look where their defenders are. I know you guys are saying, listen, it's a match. I know JJ Reddick called it like a matchup zone defense actually in the playoffs. I call it a hybrid defense because it might look like a 1-2-2, 3-2. But really what they do is I think of it more of a hybrid packet-in defense where the scorer has the ball with the trap-heavy elements in here. And look at this. Look at the Lakers. Just take a picture of this. How many NBA teams are willing to be, and this is why they're so well coached. I know you guys don't like when a team freeze frame this, but look how compact these guys are. They know what the hell the scouting report is, what the matchup, what they're supposed to do. And look how they stunt and recover so well. Right here, Amber Edges does get in the paint, but barely. And again, I want to show you guys right there. This is what the Lakers do against a lot of different scores, but especially Anthony Edwards. Look at this. This is just a win for the Lakers defense. And yes, Ant Edwards can make this shot, and he's going to have to take this shot, but when it's stagnant, it's not ball moving, it's not, the ball's not happy, you're okay with this type of shot by the Lakers, and you'll adjust if he makes about 4, 5, 6 of these. But those are tough shots for Anthony Edwards to really make. Let's take a look at this again. Again, we have the ball that'll make life difficult, but look at this. Pick and roll happens. They'll switch on this, right? Look at this. Look at the help defense, by the way. Look at this. Obviously, Rui knows what his man is. Reaves now. They're going to switch this up a little bit. This is a big Golden State Warriors. They could switch this if they want to. Warriors just do that all the time. But look what happens with early rotation. Look at this early rotation. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. You got 4. Now, obviously, Timberwolves are in the paint too, but look at this. When Ant Edwards drives, they know what the scheme is. And look what Gabe Martin's doing. Look at this. Gabe Vincent, I mean. Look at this. Look at this contest here. And again, it is a tough shot for Anthony Edwards. It is a foul. But again, let's take a look at Gabe Vincent again. Let's see what happens here. Top of the key is Anthony Edwards. Okay, we see the movement here. Someone's trying to get movement here. But look at this. Look at this rotation. He's going to come over here and just rotate early. Again, we're going to get in the paint. We're going to just collapse it. And notice how the Lakers stun, are active. They are engaged in the defensive game plan and the atmosphere. And the first half, yes, the Lakers kind of did this. But the second half, I'm sure they got talked to JJ Reddick about, hey, we got to do a better job. As I sip from my canteen. Again, who has the ball? We know who has the ball here. Ready? We're coming back here. Look at this. Look at this. What is the scout report, guys? What is it? No, let's crowd it up. Right here. Bam. And we talked about early trapping, right? So look at this. We're going to double and show a little bit here. And look at this. Look at this rotation here. Look at this rotation for the Lakers. They know what to do, and this is very, very good. Luka Doncic should be probably right here sitting 1-on-2, but he's a very active, engaged defender. Gabe Vince, if this is anyone besides Anthony Edwards, guys, right here, if this is anyone besides Anthony Edwards, what you would see Gabe do is Gabe would be right down here in the hole and take the first 2 passes out of these 2, right? That's what he would probably do, and then Doncic would recovered this way. But right now, Doncic is reading his eyes, trying to go what happens, trying to go for the steal here. And I like the activities from Doncic. It's very aggressive. He's trying to read the eyes, read the eyes, read the eyes. He goes a little bit too heavy over there. And unfortunately, we see a wide open look here that gets a little bit contested by Rui. Should have been a good contest here. A good make, but he doesn't get it. But look how active this defense is. And the Lakers are trap heavy. And again, they have to do good team defense, right? They just have to. They don't have great individual defenders, but they're all locked in. They know what's going on. They know what's happening with the ball here. And look at this rotation. Rui's doing what he's supposed to do. Gabe Vincent, again, because of Edwards, he's got to shade into his side. If this was almost anyone else on the Minnesota roster, he would be really packed in here, right here, kind of baiting on that pass and taking that first pass away. Doncic is just being active, being aggressive, trying to say, hey, I'm trying to bait this pass, bait a steal here. He's going to rotate to the three-point shooter, though, which is okay with this. And Murray with a good straight-up contest there. We got to make that play if you're Minnesota, and Gobert's going to do a better job here. He's going to kick it out here. But again, that is a good defensive possession by the Lakers. But notice one thing, guys. When they're trap-heavy, right? But look how compact they are when they have the ball, when Ant has the ball here. Again, let's take a look at this. Bam, ball over here. Ant gives it up here. Again, they're going to shade a bit. Doesn't matter who has because they're going to compact the defense, right? So you have help. So you can pressure the ball. You can have good help because you know your help team is going to be here. And look at this. Look at this. How many NBA teams are playing really good pack line? It's not a pack line defense, obviously, but if you're a college term, you know that term. It's like, I call it gap. It's pack. They're in the pack. They're in the stunt. They're stunning. They're active in the gaps here, right here. Bam. Vincent gap. Reaves gap. Doncic right there on the help side. Very good. Doing what he's supposed to do here. Avoiding the 3-second call there, even though he doesn't really have, they've been leaning on that, doesn't have to do it. Look at this. Look at this. Stunt, recover. A and being aggressive. Look at this. Look where all the Lakers are. I understand Minnesota could do a little bit better job spacing here, and they waited way too long to run actions to counter this, which is poor by Minnesota staff. But look at how compact this stifling Lakers defense is. And you're saying, what's the big deal about this? The big deal is because you are just seeing jerseys on jerseys. They have length. Right? They have a little bit of length. When their arms are up, there's just not a lot of wiggle room for Ant Edwards. And this is just, and Ant Edwards is someone who just he's been a better job of this, but he does get frustrated a little bit when things don't go his way, like some scorers do. Not as much as he used to, but look at this. Just being active, being rotated, Doncic being active, being rotate heavy. I know it's a foul, but I don't care. If you're a Lakers fan, you just don't care about these fouls because you are doing good team defense right here. This is exactly what you want your team defense to do. Now, Reaves helping out a little bit, stunning a little bit, could be a little bit more aggressive with a stunt here, pack heavy, but he's positioned in the gap a little bit better than he was previously. And look at this. We're just in there. We're just being active. We're just making it tough for Minnesota. And you're driving into the defense. You're driving into jerseys. And it is a foul, but that's an okay foul because, again, the Lakers are making it difficult with their pack concepts, their gap concepts. Okay, let's take a look at this. I have it on here. And look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. They're just shading the ball in transition defense. They're shading the ball because who's the most dangerous person on Minnesota? It's obviously Edwards and then Randall, right? Notice how they play those two. Look at this, right here, look at this. And by the way, if you're an old-time Lakers fan, look at what Rui's doing. And remember Kurt Rambis' defense one year? They started doing this where they would just shade one side. And it wasn't working too well because the Lakers were like, well, we have Odom, we have Gasol, we don't have to do that as much. We have Bynum. But they used to do this a lot. They would early rotate a lot on Phil Jackson's, I think, his second year there. Or not second year, but the second year of their championship year. If you're a long-time Lakers fan, you might remember if you were like really big into X's and O's. But anyways, right here, we're pre-rotating here because we're trying to gap in. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the Lakers, guys. They are gapping it up. And I know some people say, well, isn't that a zone? Isn't that a zone? You can call it hybrid defense. What they are, they're just gapping it up. The reason it's not a pure zone is because there was one time when the Minnesota would throw cutters in the paint and you have to follow them, which is what a matchup zone defense does. But again, I just call it really good man defense. It's really good team defense here. They understand what's going on here. They understand the concepts here. They're shading this very good right here. They know the rotations here. Very good cut. They should have cut a little bit sooner. But look at this. Look at this. Just pass it out here. We got to rotate here, and it's a good rotation there. Doncic should get that second pass there. Shouldn't be Rui. But again, this is good team defense, and this is only game 3, so they're going to get better, and the rest of the NBA has to get ready for this. Look at this. Again, we're shading it in. Look how many defenders are in. Ball is at the wing extended, elbow extended to the wing, and look how many defenders are there. Not a lot of NBA teams are willing to do this or are drilled enough to do this. But look at this. They're shading on that side. Very good. They're shading on that side here, shading on that side here. And I'll freeze them right here. I know some people are saying, well, isn't the skip pass, can you get killed off the skip pass? You absolutely can, but how many teams use a skip as good as Denver Nuggets? Honestly. Whether it's high school, especially college, NBA skip pass is a lot more dangerous, but how many teams are willing to skip it for a skip 3 as often? When you have good pressure, That doesn't happen often. Now, right here is a bit of a defensive breakdown because this right here should be this. Ready? Doncic should be picking up this, right? The first pass right here, who has the first pass here? When this skip pass happens to the opposite wing, who has the first skip pass? It should absolutely be Vincent, right? But the second pass, we call this X action. It's a matchup zone principle. I learned this from Richmond back many years ago when I talked to their staff. It's you do X action, which is Vincent would take that first pass away, and then Doncic would go and stunt and be at the second pass, right? It should never be Rui going over there because it's just way too much of an ask for him, right? So when this pass happens, Doncic should be sprinting to the corner. If he's not going to take that, which is he could, but what they probably drew is this: the low man's going to take it because Doncic should be probably right here, 2 feet in the paint. Gabe should be right around here a little bit in the dunker spot, kind of like with his booty to his hamstring right there a little bit too. Or right around there is what Gabe should be. But when this cut happens right here, absolutely that's Luka's take. But when that pass happens, Luka said, I got it. But if he's not doing it, then we got to do what we're going to do. And that's Gabe should X out. Gabe takes that first pass, and then Doncic get that second pass. Rui makes that tough rotation. He shouldn't have to make that rotation, by the way. He should have to take because Rui says, okay, I got this on the hard. Doesn't have to do that at all, right? It's like, hey, I got this cutter here in the middle. Reach the cut in the middle, but again, we're okay with these mistakes, if you want to call it that, because we're rotating and we have it going on here. And again, yes, it is a make. Yes, it's the one thing about the Minnesota definitely after, I think it was game 2 or 3, Minnesota really caught on to what they were doing and did a better job of moving and getting action. But this Minnesota staff, I'm surprised it took them. They didn't start running this shit until more action stuff, splits and stuff like that, until the fourth quarter, which I was very, very surprised they didn't do it earlier. Again, let's take a look again. We got a lot of these for the third quarter because I remember seeing these on these synergy clips here. Again, who has the ball? You guys already know who. And look where the eyes are. Everyone knows who's dangerous. It's Randall and it's Ant Edwards. Look at this. We're appreciating here. I remember Kurt Rambis used to do this all the time when he was a defensive assistant for the Lakers, and they try to do this for a half a season right here. We're shading up here. We know he wants to kind of drive over here. Rui's doing a good job here, but look at this. Look how compact we are. Look how engaged and compact we are. And yes, it's a tough make, yes, but Ant has to work for these shots. Again, you can't stop anyone in the NBA from scoring, but you can make it harder. But look at this. When the ball is in the paint here, they all collapse. They sink. They make it difficult. And it's a good play. And again, it's a very physical play here. Reaves cannot one-on-one with Anthony. It's a tough curve for him. But again, that is kind of what you're trying to see from the Lakers. I hope you guys understand what they're trying to do. And you'll see this as well, where they just load up, they help, they trap or pre-shade very early on. Very good here. And look at this. Again, people might think it's like, oh, it's a zone. It's a 1-2-2 zone, or hey, it's type of zone. It is a defense where they're packing it in. They're gapping it in. They understand what they're going to do. They understand what they're trying to do here. And Conley just awful foul. This just a momentum killer right there. But again, look at this, guys. Look at this again. Ant has the ball. Look at what the Lakers are doing. Look at what the Lakers are doing. They're shading up. They're gapping. They're just making it so the ball handler sees jerseys. They're just seeing jerseys. There's no driving angles. There are no good gaps to drive to. Conley with a bad foul there. Who has the ball? You guys already know it's Anthony Edwards. Look at this already. We're gapping it up. We're gapping. We're all shading in there. We're gapping it. We understand what's going on here. We're pre-rotating already. Again, Ant has the ball. We know what we're going to do there. Look at this. They're just gapping up. They're pre-loading up. And look at this. This is just a shot that, yes, Ant Edwards can absolutely make, but it's a tough shot. And again, if I told you a year ago that, like, who should take this matchup, LaRavia or Ant Edwards, I know what you guys would say, but look at this. But it's team defense. Again, JJ Reddick said team defense. This is a team defensive concept where they're just playing as a team, and they're just gapping up. They're loading up and just doing a really good job of it. Look at this. Just very good job. Very good job. Let's take a look at a couple more, guys. This is Randall with the ball. You already know what they're going to do with Randall. He's another scorer they're going to score on and get after it. Again, Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm just so shocked. They just waited so long to run actions. Just awful. Again, anyway, ball over here. We're gapping. We're in a gap. Are we pre-helping here? Are we pre-shading? We could here, and we do. We pre-shade there, but the ball's below the free throw line. And look what these guys are doing. They're shading. They're helping. They're just getting after it, man. Look at this. Just good stuff there. And look, skip pass with the steal. And again, skip passes do hurt this defense anytime you're really gapping it and sagging it and help, but you have to make that good pass, and this, unfortunately, is not a good pass. But look at this. Baited that pass in there. Vanderbilt also has big arms. Lengths. This is just a really poor pass, by the way. Look at this. It's not even high. You're not set. You're kind of moving, making that pass. You got to make sure it's an overhead pass, tougher. This is like just goes and just dips low instead of high, and it just gets stolen. It's just a bad pass here. Intent was there, but again, look at this, guys. We're pre-shading here. We're pre-shading here. We're pre-shading here. We're pre-shading here. Bam. And again, on this pass right here, Vanderbilt would take that pass, and it's tough, but Rui would then come over and take the Gobert dive if Rudy Gobert were to dive. Okay? Look at this. Again. I'm just surprised Minnesota didn't make more movement until the fourth quarter. You'll see what I mean. This is a good start here, right here. I want to see more split action, more high post action and cuts, but they didn't do that here. Again, Ant has the ball. Look at this. We're just gapping it up. We're gapping. We're shading here. It looks like look. Some people say, oh, it's a 1-2-2 zone, 1-2-2 zone. Okay. Let them think it's a zone. So they just, because when you let teams think, this, when I ran the matchup zone and our team made the Final Four run, teams didn't know if it was a man or a zone, right? And all their matchup zone was a switching man-to-man where it like 20% zone concepts, right? But teams just ran zone. When you run zone plays against you, get stagnant, but it's really easy to defend. And that's what the Lakers are doing. They're making teams get stagnant. We're gapping. Look at this. We're helping. A little bit, maybe over-helping here, but look, we have 3 guys on it. This should be an easy play for Edwards to make, you know what I'm saying? But we have 3 people on the ball here. Should have passed up a little bit sooner. Again, we're shading. We're being active. But we're being very active here. And yes, that is... should be a makeable, takeable shot from Reno. I don't know if he makes this, but again, we just like how active they are. And it's a miss here, but again, look how active we are on the Lakers side. Look at this. Just look how active we are. We're gapping it in, we're gapping it in, we're gapping it. We're not really worried about the three-point spacing and shooting here. We're just making sure that Edwards is not getting in the paint, isn't feasting in the paint. Because when he doesn't get in the paint, him and Randall don't get in the paint, just makes it so that they force him to take tougher shots, outside shots, and you probably have a better chance of winning when that happens. And that's exactly what they're doing. Let's do a couple more here, guys. Have the ball here. Coming after it. Trying to set a screen here. Smart's talking to the official here. And again, the energy and activity by Smart really lightens this defense up. We have it right here. Trying to do a ball screen here. We're going to probably switch that. Yep, we do that. And look, gap, shading. We're gapping up. We're gapping up because we're just there. We're gapping up right there. Look at this stunt. Stunt help. We have to recover. Edwards gets in the paint. Again, it's what he does best here. Good fall by Gobert. But again, this is just a tough make, guys. This is just a tough make because we're gapping it up. We're shading. We're helping. We're making it difficult. We're seeing bodies in the paint. We're just driving over. 2 could have rotated over. I think it's Vanderbilt. Could have rotated over a little bit sooner, but again, that's what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to make it so it's difficult for them to get after it. We'll do 2 more clips here and show it. And again, I really like how they're doing this. I want to see if the Lakers do this more and more. This is what Minnesota... I'm not going to talk about Minnesota. Minnesota should be doing a lot more splits and cuts. I don't know. Look at this. I've showed you a lot of third quarter clips. How many of them have been movement by Minnesota? I'm not going to talk about Minnesota, but again, that's what your hybrid and defense does. Like, we don't know it. Makes people stagnant, not sure what to do here. Again, very good. One should have cut in the paint here. You have it right there. That's why it's not a complete zone because we're still following cutters a little bit. But then we're just going to shade a little bit too here. But again, look at this. Making him stagnant. Dribble. Cut out. Okay. Going to drive here. But again, it's a tough shot, guys. It's a tough shot. That should be a makeable shot, but it's a tough shot. It's a running shot. It's making things difficult. Again, look at this. Ball here. We're gap. We're shading. We're gap. We're just making things difficult for the opposing team. Again, gap, help, recover. Very good. We're active in the gaps. We're being active. We're being active in the gaps. We're just shading. We're stunning. We're doing what we have to do here. Would have liked to see a lot more of this from Minnesota. This is just good stuff here. And right here, Vincenzo's cut here, but he doesn't. He should have cut here to put pressure into the defense to rotate out so we can get a skip pass shot. But we don't have that here. Again, and we're going to take this. Kind of a rhythm shot. That's okay if you're the... Lakers. If you're Minnesota, you're absolutely going to take that shot for Edwards here. Get it up in the air. Pump fake. Absolutely routine shot. Should absolutely take this. But again, I don't know why Minnesota didn't run more sets. I want to say why we're not going to because it kind of be offensive. But again, the Lakers just completely came out adjusted, out-coached Minnesota. And again, look at this. It's 7 minutes in the fourth quarter, and they just didn't do it. And I know why they didn't run a lot of sets. To answer your questions, because they were just stunted. They were just, I don't know what they're doing defense. But it's the same defense they ran, and especially in Game 3 into the Minnesota. And it's just rough, man. Just very rough here. But very good by the Lakers. And if you're a high school coach, college coach, you're playing against like a matchup zone defense, or a defense like this, just run stuff, high post cutters, low post cutters. Get cutters going so they have to move around. Make the Lakers have to guard more space than they have to, because right now, look at this. The Lakers are just guarding the box, pack it in. They do not have to, and the skip passes have been poor. The bubble has been poor. It's just been poor all around by Minnesota, so they don't have to really guard a lot. They're just guarding in to get into spots. They're doubling here. See this? We're gapping up. We're recovering back. Ravia's trying to get in there, and that's a tough shot. But, hey, again, this is what we do for the Lakers. We're making tough shots, making them make tough shots because we're gapping it up. We're getting after it. We're shading. We're pre-shading. We're trapping here. And not many teams commit to the double, right? I talked about it. I think Houston Rockets. We talked about the 2-3 zone. Like in the zone, they wanted to trap, but they didn't really commit to it. They half-assed it. This right here, we're committed to trap here. I should have passed me out sooner. What we're doing? We're just gonna drive. Okay, Reaves could have been in the gap more a little bit. I'm assuming that's Vincenzo or Rando. It's right. He didn't. Yep. But right here, good read right here. But again, we're just seeing bodies on bodies. Balls below the elbow wing. Just gather it up here. Very good. And they're just, again, it's not so much. People say, oh, it's a zone defense, zone defense. It's a hybrid defense. We want to call that. It might be matchup zone defense, but when the cutters come, they have to follow the cutters. But again, they're just gapping up. They're shading. They're making the paint so tough to drive into. And Minnesota likes to get into the paint there. And very good. And to be fair, this defense should work really good to Minnesota because they're just a team that, like Denver, for instance, we've seen them. They'll skip the ball around. They'll move around. They'll be active with their passes, active with their offense. A lot of teams like Minnesota, though, where they're going to try to dribble, try to, like, after 1-2 passes, might try to go ISO heavy. And the Lakers were tuned in. They're gapped in. Very good job of the players to execute. High IQ to understand the game plan. And the Lakers coaching staff has been so good so far this year. They were good last year. They're good this year. Can't wait to see more from them this year. As always, guys, thanks for watching. And keep your sights on basketball vision.